I want to start from like the absolute very beginning. So could you tell us how you got into football and what it was like playing football as a kid growing up?
I know, definitely. Obviously, I got into football, obviously living in the estate down the canal, playing football with my brothers, sisters and local kids in the estate. And it just something I enjoyed doing. And then we was in primary school, and just one lunchtime we wanted to play football, and the boys weren't letting the girls play, as you do back then, or as they did back then, I should say. And just the dinner lady just took the ball from them and said, okay, it's girls football. No, you weren't letting the girls play, so it's girls only football. And from that day, lo and behold, the boys always let us play. So not just out of school, but also in school, I was able to do something I really enjoyed, and it just went on from there. I mean, I tried many other sports. Well, I'd done many other sports. Anything that was put in front of me, I took part in, but like football stole my heart and just carried me through.
What did you try? What were the sports that you gave a hand at?
I used to do like hurdles,
okay,
relay,
okay, all running,
yeah, all running, karate.
Okay.
Yeah, really cool. And it come down to when I was like going to secondary school, I either had to do football or karate because both competitions were on a Sunday, and training was also on a Tuesday, Thursday, and I had to juggle which one. And it become football was going to be the one for me, so I had to knock karate on the head, and yeah, stuck with football.
What made you choose football over karate?
So I just liked it was just the team element of it, I think, for me. I just loved being around people, just loved trying different things and just conquering little skills that I used to see like on TV. I think I want to try that one, I've got to try and do this one. And obviously just when you're with your brothers and sisters and they all like doing it, just something everyone locally done it, and you just thoroughly got into it, and it took me as far off the field you can go.
When was it that you realised that you could actually make it professionally and go the distance in your football career?
Do you know, it's something that people have asked me that, and I didn't know that. It's just something I enjoyed doing, I enjoyed playing, and I just went as far as I could go. Like obviously I played for my local youth club, which was Patmore, which in Wandsworth, which is really cool. I remember playing an Anniversary Cup final when we played against Arsenal. I was like, I'd like to play at this level. These girls are absolutely amazing. But obviously I was still at Patmore, didn't know how to get into Arsenal, nothing like that. Obviously Millwall was my local team, and I'd done work experience down there, and Lou Waller, who worked in a community sports scheme, I was speaking to her, and I got invited down to the Lionesses, and from there I left my youth club obviously to go and join the Lionesses, and I started off in the reserves there, and then a couple of games in I got asked up to the first team and play as defender. And that's when my defending started from in there. It's like you had a bit of pace, can you defend? I was like, I will play football in goal even. Not the best in goal, but I will go in there. I just wanted to play football. And yeah, it went on from there, and I've become a solid defender.
How did it feel sort of getting that call up to the Lionesses? That's such a huge moment.
Yeah, it's a mad one, because I'd only gone to a couple of training sessions. So I was very new to it. I didn't know an England's women's team existed. No, nobody really, unless you were really involved in football. And I was still young, so I didn't know as much far afield as where women's football was. And I got called up to the England team with a teammate of mine, Tina Lindsay, and we went up there for a couple of training sessions. And then just before the World Cup, I got a letter to say, you've been selected for the World Cup squad. I was like, okay. And it was all surreal. Even now when I think of it, it's surreal, because for me, it's just another level. I'm going to go and play football, but I'm going to be around all these players. But I'm just going to be it's a big squad. It's not like you're going to play football and you're going to be a part of it. You're going to be in a squad. Can you get into it? I was probably one of the youngest players on that squad, so I was just a major part of it. Just seeing the development of players, seeing how they play out there, seeing all the training they had to do, and what level I had to try and push myself to. And I wanted to aspire to that. And obviously, when I come back, I had my child when I come back from the World Cup, so it kind of slowed things down a bit. But straight after having him, I got back into the Millwall squad and finished off the end of the season, and it picked up again, and I got myself back into the England setup.
Amazing. I mean, when you sort of look at some of the clubs that you played with, you know, Fulham, Arsenal, Chelsea, you mentioned Millwall there, what would you say are some of like the big standout moments from your sort of time with these clubs? Any like big memories?
My big memory, obviously, with Millwall is definitely, that's the one that stays with me. It's winning the League Cup and the FA Cup, because we'd gone through several years of getting beaten, getting drummed. Actually going out in that fourth year and the team clicking together nicely and going beating teams, and them not even giving us recognition of how much we've developed, and going out and winning that FA Cup and that League Cup, they're two big trophies for me. Joining Fulham, obviously, being one of 16 professional players in this country, that was amazing. You know, people, you could earn more money working elsewhere, which is true, but I was like, I'm waking up and I'm going to be going to football. Okay, all day I can come home at a reasonable time to put my kids to bed and feed them. You know, it was a no-brainer for me. It's going to be a pro footballer. It was cool. Then obviously going to Arsenal, that was the big fish for me, because before going I got told, you're not going to get in. You know, you're not good enough to get in there. You should stay where you're at. I was like, I'm going to try. You know, if I don't try, I ain't going to know. And obviously I went to Arsenal and become an integral part of that team, going on to win the quadruple with them. So thanks for believing in me. But, you know, I proved you wrong. You know, I was good enough to get in there, and I fitted into the team nicely, and we done really well the 4 years I was down there.
Have you ever spoken to some of the doubters that you had before? Have you ever sort of come face to face with them again?
I see them, but, you know, you don't have to say anything. You know, it says it all, because the little nod of your head. So
talks for itself.
Yeah, it speaks for itself. You see what I've done, see where I was at and where I've come from and where I've gone to. It's like, it speaks volumes. So I don't have to say nothing to them. They just know. Amazing.
Do you show them like pictures of like trophies or like your medals, that kind of? Or where do you keep your trophies and medals now?
They're at home. I've not put them. Some of them are up. Many of them aren't. I ain't got a place to put them all, but one day I will get them out. I won't be lazy, and I will actually put them. There is space. I just need to find them, take the time and put them up properly, and I can do that. But I just got the main ones that are key for me, which is my 2 Millwall ones, my Arsenal quadruple, and they're the main ones for me.
And do the kids ask about them? Do they sort of say, like, do you speak to them about the memories that you had playing football?
No, I mean, my boys were a big playing part. I mean, you'll see pictures of me, and I've actually got them on my shoulders, or walking next to me and putting the FA Cup thing on their head, which is cool. And the girls are growing up with me on the coaching side of things, so they see clips of me playing football. They'll see my like card of the things I've done. But other than that, we don't really talk much about it. They know I played football. I don't talk much about it. It's like, if you want to know a bit more, I will tell you, but, you know, what you see is what you get. I'm at the end of the day, I'm still mum. I'm no different. I've just done something with my life that people are really interested in, which is really cool.
Definitely. I mean, for everyone who's sort of involved in football, I think everything that you did with Arsenal is absolutely amazing. I mean, like, you look at, you know, Vic Akers getting massive recognition at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, he went through the mill, obviously, and came out the other side and was a big sort of part of, you know, where women's football is today. I mean, how nice is it kind of getting that, or starting to get that recognition yourself and what you achieved for football? I mean, has it sort of sunk in yet, sort of your place in women's football history?
It hasn't sunk in yet, no, because obviously I'm still involved in it, and I think once you step back from it, that's when you start looking at things that you've done. Obviously it's not until I stopped playing football that I've looked at what I achieved in actually playing football. Obviously I'm still coaching, so I don't look back as far, probably as much as I should do, because I focus on me getting my team ready and getting them ready to play and to achieve things that I want them to achieve too. I want them to aspire to win things. At the end of the day, we want to win something at the end of the day. But I've not had a full look at it. But when I do take time to reflect, the little things that come up, it is nice to see.
What are kind of some of those memories, like what do you reflect back on as sort of like most fondly, I suppose? Like,
just finding my place, you know, finding that I could play football, because I went through many years of being told, young girls can't do this, you can't play football, you can't do this, you can't do that. And actually finding, you know, I can do it, and you know what, there's many other girls out there that can do it.
Definitely.
And you just have got to be bold enough to stand up and think, I can do it. You know, I did step back a couple of times and think, oh, maybe I shouldn't, because I've been told I'm not allowed to, but there's that drive in me, so, no, you enjoy doing this, step forward, and pushed myself to do it. And you know, and it's a key thing. It's not running against the grain, it's just, you have a dream and you want to follow it, and there's something inside you that just pulls you through, and regardless of the backlash you're going to get, you still push yourself. And
definitely.
Yeah, you just ignore the doubters and you keep moving forward.
And a big part of that sort of strength and resilience must have come from teammates, I'm assuming. You must have made some pretty lifelong friendships. You still sort of in touch with some of the girls that you used to play with?
I'm only probably in touch hardcore 3 players, and it's mad, but they're 3 sound players, like 3 good strong friendships I had in the game.
Which players are these?
They're from Millwall, Tina Lindsay, quality player, quality person, just all-rounder. She's a sound person.
Good egg.
Rachel Yankey,
yep.
she was my
roommate.
I know
her quite well. Yeah.
She's my
heard
roommate.
of her, yeah.
She was my roommate through and through, and like, she can tell you of days even when we first met, we were at England, like she was Arsenal, I was in Millwall, we used to walk past each other, it's just a smile and nod, acknowledgement before we start talking, because it's like, it weren't a rivalry, so to speak, but it's like, that's Millwall, you can't speak, that's Arsenal, you can't speak. We were just like, as you do, but yeah, we become roommates, and obviously best mates, good mates through there. And Pamela Bezra, who played at Millwall as well alongside me, she's out in the States now, lives out there, but we still have our phone conversations, which are very long when we get on phone to each other. Our kids love it. It's like, oh, mum's on the phone for a couple of hours.
Yeah, peace and quiet.
But other than that, everyone else would be, I know them to speak to them, but to get on the phone and chat to them for as long as I do, it's them free. Yeah, be far cool.
Any funny memories from being roommates with Rachel Yankey, or is there anything you can tell us? There was a wry smile there. Something must have gone down.
Oh no, there's some mad mates, but it's like what happens at football stays at football kind of thing.
I see, okay, like a code.
Proper code, we've got to keep it there. We know what happens and we can have a good laugh about it, but we keep it there.
All right, I won't deep dive any further. Your international career was just as successful. You accumulated 65 England caps, playing at 2 World Cups. Can you kind of give us a bit of, I don't know, how you felt kind of representing your country? I mean, that's such a big honour.
I know, it was cool. Like I said, I was 18 for the first call-up, which was absolutely great because I used to watch the players like Hope, like Brenda, like Kerry, and I think, these are what I want to be. I want to be on that pitch. I don't just want to be part of the squad. I want to be involved. On that pitch playing.
Yeah.
Because everyone's involved, a part of it, but you just want to be more hands-on.
For sure.
And obviously, getting to the World Cup in 2007, just 4 years prior to that, we got knocked out by France, and we didn't make it. So this time round, it was my 50th cap, and I had the armband on that day as well. And it's just like, all we had to do was not lose the game. And I think we all dug down deep out in France there, and a draw was fine. We got through, and it was just reaching that other target. I wanted to get to a World Cup, and I was a playing part of the team there, so I had a very good chance of making the squad again and push myself to be a playing starter, and I managed to do that as well.
What was it like sort of taking on the captain's armband? I mean, playing for England is good enough, playing for Arsenal is good enough, but like wearing your country's armband, I mean that's such an incredible. I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about you doing that. I mean, how's that for you?
It's great, but I don't take it as just me being a captain. For me, everyone plays a role out there. Everyone is a captain because everyone's got to be able to pull each other through. But someone has to wear that armband. The manager has to believe in you to be able to put out what they're trying to do out there, and you've got to be able to rally the team up. And it's great that the manager, who was Hope Powell as well, had that belief in me to take the armband, and then have that belief in myself that I could pick the team, rally them up, and carry it through and get that draw or the win that we needed. Like I said, we took the draw, both hands, and went through to the finals out in China.
Amazing. I mean, that's absolutely unbelievable.
No, it is cool.
How did you find sort of being a mum throughout this entire period? I mean, it's such a lot to juggle, sort of captaincy, England, club football, as well as being a mum to youngsters at the time. I mean, how did you fit it all in? How did it all work?
Do you know, I think it's definitely something that I wanted, because it was a passion of mine and I really wanted to play football. I made my kids a part of my life. I gave them as much attention and done everything we could, go on holidays, take them to school. When I was training, I taught them to ride bikes early, so they were able to. I'd be running and they'd be biking.
Okay, they were part of the strength and conditioning training. Okay.
I'd go swimming, they'd be in their little rings, and I'd be kicking them, being told you can't go past that end. I was like, fair enough.
Okay, I love that.
Little things like that. When I used to go strength and conditioning, they were able, because I used to go early morning when the gym was empty. They were able to come with me, and I used to love it because they used to play on high jump and mats. So I just made them a big part of what I was doing. Obviously, going to the World Cup was a tough one, because my eldest, he was just starting secondary school, so I missed that period of him starting secondary school to make sure he settled in, because he's doing that part of his life, and I was going to the World Cup. But the FA and the team actually set up Skype at the time, so we had to have Skype calls and keep in touch that way. But it was a hard one, and obviously I used to sit and chat with Rachel a bit in there, because obviously there was only myself and Kate who are mums in the team, so people don't really understand the depths of what you're going through, because you're trying to focus on what you're out there to do, play football, but at the back of your mind, your kids are your first and utmost, and I wanted to make sure they were always okay, so I was constantly talking to them. When I knew they were fine, it just made my life a lot easier when I was away from them.
And did they ever manage to sort of come to the games at all? Were they sort of
home games that night? So if they games were in England and they were up north or whatever, they would come up there.
Okay, cool.
But obviously when they were abroad, internationally they didn't. But when I played for Arsenal, when we used to have like pre-season stuff, they'd come out to some of the trips of us. Tunisia being the best one, they really loved that one, going out to there. But they did get to travel with me to some places, but not everywhere, unfortunately.
I bet they loved that.
And they did. It's nice things to look back on, to say, do you know what, I did play football, and you were a part of that, and they see that and they appreciate that. And the girls just like, why can't you still be doing that now? But it's different now, so.
It must always feel a little bit frustrating that, I mean, they couldn't have been at home and kind of watching some of the games on TV that you played. I mean, now, like, the access is a lot better. So, yeah, that would have been amazing to kind of...
The big games, they were at home watching, and it was like... I was like, if the games are on, you'll see, because I'll give you a wink.
Yeah, for sure.
Thing. So if you were to ever see any of the old school games, you'd see the camera guys comes to me, you'd see that wink was for the kids, and yeah, they'd know that. So,
I bet they loved that.
And they did, because they was like, Mum's remembered us, kind of thing. So, and then they'd watch the game and go to bed after that.
Well, that's what you think.
Yeah. That's what I've been told. So
Yeah,
I'm led to believe that they did go to bed after the game. So yeah, I'll stick with that one.
All right. You took a 4-year hiatus from international football starting in 1998 to raise your sons. How was it kind of making that decision and choosing to step away from football for that period?
I didn't make that decision. I love the way that's been put out there in the media and people have bought into it.
Okay, correcting the narrative. Okay.
Yeah, it was obviously, if I'd planned to have kids, I probably wouldn't have had them when I had them. I was just got into the England squad. I'd be thinking, I'm playing football, it's international. But as life does, nature calls and things happen. I was pregnant, I had my first child, so I had him. I was still playing football. I still at Millwall, which was really cool, and let me take my son, but he went to a lot of the away games with me, so I knew I was able to play football and have a child. Then there was a period where I'm going to say the Millwall girls, we kind of got dropped from the England squad. Everyone knew why, still to this day. I don't think any of us ever asked. But during that period while I was out of the England squad, I had my second child.
Right, okay.
And it's just after having him, I was still obviously got back into the Millwall setup and got myself back to fitness and playing games. And then I got called back into the England team a couple of years after having him. So I didn't take that break to specifically have kids. I don't think anyone really plans to have kids from 18 to 22. Some do, don't get me wrong.
Fair.
But it wasn't for me, but it's just how my life worked out, and it's been a great part of my life. But it's not as stated it weren't. I sat down vigilantly and planned it to happen. I just rolled with the dices, rolled with it, and that's how it went.
I mean, coming back from that a year later and then becoming the first black female to earn the honour of captaining England. I mean, tell us what that was like. That's such a huge thing to do.
No, it was a nice experience to be asked to be captain for the team. But to become the first black female, I didn't actually find that out until 2017 when I was doing a Black History Month with Sky.
Okay.
And that's when I found out the importance of that day, of actually having that armband and going out and playing. It put my name down in history, which was pretty sound and pretty amazing. But yeah, actually having that, getting back into the squad, push myself into the starting set of it, and just having the manager see and believe in me to give me that armband, yeah, that was amazing in itself. But just to find that, the actual importance of it many years later, that's forever in the books.
And since having sort of that recognition in 2017 and kind of having that moment of appreciation of, how much you've done to change the game, I mean, has it like properly sunk in yet, sort of where you sit in history? I mean, even for me as a former player, a black player, sitting here on a bench with you in this very unusual environment, sort of hearing about your story and kind of what you meant in terms of being that iconic for the game is huge. So yeah, has that sunk in when you speak to people about it?
That it sinks in and out, because obviously we're talking about it now. I can try and think of what it's really like, and I appreciate the sheer fact that I've got that captaincy and I'm the first black female to hold that captaincy. But I think in years to come, when I've actually put everything of football away and I'm not training nothing and I'm just sitting in my old rocking chair, rocking away.
Fine, having a holiday.
Yeah, it's really going to dawn on me that, that's a big stepping stone within football, and it's something there that my kids will have seen, my grandkids will see, my great-great-grandkids will see when I'm long gone. That I was a part of the footballing history, which has moulded the game how it is, and actually having the FA look at the diversity within the game.
Definitely.
Because it is going through a big change right now, because the past few years, that diversity has not been seen within the women's game. I mean, in the men's game, you can see it coming through thick and strong, and the women's game, it's kind of died out over the years, but it's slowly starting to come back through, which is pretty important for the dynamics of this country, considering we're a very multicultural country.
Definitely. So, Mary, you talked a lot about the diversity, and I think it's definitely a point of discussion that we've seen raised quite a lot with the Lionesses and the current squad. And I think, like you said, sort of given the diversity of people in especially urban areas, it is surprising that we still don't have that representation at the top levels. How have you kind of seen things change, or not seen things change throughout your kind of career?
Obviously, from when I was playing, there was a lot of diversity within the squads, and obviously nowadays I have young girls that come up. I used to watch us play, and you really encouraged me to go out and play, and it's like, no, it's heartwarming. And you have players now, like I have my young daughter who's interested in playing football. She actually does play, but when she was watching Euro, she was like, Mum, there's I don't see no one playing. I went, There are a few players out there. You just got to be vigilant. You will see a couple of players there, but it's not as widespread. No, it's not as visual to see straight away that there's clear diversity out there. It's open for everyone, and it's questionable, and it has made people ask that question, and people have now had to start answering. And because there are players out there, it's just how they're going to miss so far, and at the top level as well. So, there is going to be a change in there. It will start coming through again, and there'll be more people to relate to, and more role models. Because obviously, me growing up, I didn't have female role models. The only people I saw playing football on TV were male players, and that's why I picked up on. But seeing is believing. It's a key thing in life. So for young girls to see that they're able to play and they do have people who represent them, that's even stronger and gives you that bigger will to want to go out there and achieve.
And how does it feel now, obviously, going into coaching as well? I mean, that's another area where representation is fairly low amongst black women especially. I mean, you've got your UEFA A licence. I mean, you're one of a handful of women to do that, let alone black women to do that. I mean, how have you kind of seen that journey progress, and how's that been for you?
That will progress. I mean, I think women in the game is not as big as I would like to have seen it, but it all comes down to people's perception of it. At Peckham Town, Brian's very open to football. He doesn't care if you're male or you're female. He just wants somebody that knows football, knows the game, and able to deliver what he's requiring for his club. And it's the same with the players that I coach out there. They don't care the fact that I'm female. It's what do I know and can I deliver it? Can I help them if they need that help? I don't go out there and I don't tell none of them and my history or my involvement in football. Just take me to see me. I either going to know what I'm talking about or I don't, and I let them work it out for themselves. And then some of them will go and Google it, just put Peckham Town, and then my name will pop up, and then they'll start looking at there. They don't specifically go and put my name in, but when they're just looking at the club, they'll see it in the history, and then they realise, there's a lot of history within this club, and everyone that is trying to help them does know football, and their manager does know a fair bit about football and is able to help them through and help them trying to achieve it. And that is key going forward. And more people have just got to be more bold, because you're not phased in the school or in college, whether you're getting lectured by a male or female, they're just your lecturers. So why is it when you step on a sports field or anything in sport, it's got to be arts male or it's female? No one complains about a male coaching a women's game. So what's the problem with a female coaching a men's game?
Especially such a qualified female coaching the the men's team. I mean, when you look at your credentials, what you've done, what you've achieved, the accolades, the trophies. I mean, you can't pick a better coach who's been through it and kind of been there, done it, got the t-shirt.
They definitely stand and speak for themselves. But before all these coaching badges come out, people used to coach at top levels without them. So as long as you actually know what you're doing, and you can work, and if it comes to the point that you have to get your badges, you're able to work through them anyway and get them. But regardless of that, it shouldn't matter if you're male or female. You should just be given that opportunity, and people just see you, take your rest, they see you. Do you know what you're doing? Can you deliver? And if the answer is yes, stop questioning my gender.
That's it.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, love that.